In the heart of the forest, under the moonlight, lived the wildcats, proud and free. Their destinies intertwined in an endless struggle for survival. Beyond the walls of human homes lived a young kit. He did not yet know that one day he would leave his safe world behind for a fate filled with danger. He dreamed of the forest, mysterious, calling to him. Among the shadows, he felt that something greater was waiting for him. And one early morning, he crossed the boundary of everything he had ever known. And for the first time, he breathed in the scent of the wild forest. The forest greeted him with silence and unseen eyes watching every step. And suddenly, an attack, swift, like the strike of claws. But instead of death came destiny. They had noticed him and offered him more than the life of a house pet. He watched them leave and understood that his choice was already made. Thus began his journey, a path that would change the fate of all the clans.
Morning brought the decision. The house was behind him. Ahead, only the forest. He ran toward the place where his destiny began. The forest accepted him into its shadows, and he returned to the place where he was awaited. His path was only beginning. In the heart of the forest lived a strength he did not yet understand. And soon he saw the place that would become his home. Eyes met. He felt he was being tested. And then he saw her, the one who guided the fate of the clan. She saw in him not just a kit, she saw a spark. His choice was made. He belonged to the clan now. Thus began his new life, a life where every sunrise brought a new challenge.
Bluestar stepped closer. She introduced herself to Firekit as the leader of ThunderClan and said she had heard of his courage. Firekit did not look away. He said he wanted to learn the forest and prove that he was worthy of becoming a warrior. Greypaw smiled. He said he always felt that Firekit carried the heart of a warrior, but not everyone was pleased with the newcomer. Sandpaw and Dustpaw watched him with a cold, mocking stare. Bluestar stopped them with a single glance. She reminded them that true strength comes from courage, not from birth. Greypaw led Firekit across the camp, showing him where the apprentices slept, where the queens rested, and where the elders shared their stories. He showed him the apprentices' den, the place that would now become Firekit's home. An elder lifted his head. He said he had not seen a houseborn kit enter the forests by his own choice in many, many moons. Firekit looked around the camp. He realized that his life would never be the same. A long path filled with trials awaited him.
Firekit's first morning in the clan arrived quietly. The forest awoke slowly, as if testing whether he was ready to become part of its world. For the first time, Firekit saw how the clan lived at dawn. Everything was new, yet felt strangely right, as if he had always belonged here. Graypaw met him near the entrance of the den. A friend's smile made the morning warmer than the sun itself. Today, a simple task awaited them, the kind that marks the beginning of every apprentice's journey. The apprentices were sent to help the elders. The work was not difficult, but it demanded patience. But the morning could not pass without a challenge. Sandpaw and Dustpaw watched him with cool, measuring eyes. No words were needed. Their stares said enough. But Firekit stood firm. He had not come here seeking approval. Graypaw explained that respect in the clan must be earned, and that it begins with the simplest of tasks. When the work was done, they headed toward the stream for fresh water, and there, Firekit realized for the first time how vast the forest was. He watched the flowing water and listened to the forest breathe, and in that moment he understood. This was his home now.
The first morning of training began not with claws, but with silence. Firepaw had to learn the most important lesson of all, how to hear the very breath of the forest floor. The world around him suddenly filled with 1,000 invisible threads. Every breeze brought stories of those hiding in the tall grass, waiting to be discovered. A warrior must be quieter than a falling leaf. One wrong step, one snap of a twig, and the forest would fall silent, shielding its secrets from the hunter. A wise mentor watched his every move. Lionheart knew that true strength lay not in sharp claws, but in the patience and discipline of a steady heart. And then, the moment instinct took over, Firepaw merged with the shadows, and this time the forest did not hear him coming. Hunger whispered for him to stop, but the warrior code was stronger. A true warrior always remembers those who are weaker before tending to himself. But not all eyes in this forest were filled with warmth. From the impenetrable thicket, a cold, calculating gaze followed the newcomer's every success. As the sun began to set, it was time to return. Firepaw carried more than just prey back to camp. He carried the proof that he was finally worthy of his name. Blue Star saw it all. In this small ginger cat, she recognized a spark that is not always given by birthright, the spark of true, unwavering loyalty. That night, Firepaw slept deeply and peacefully. The forest had finally accepted him, and now every rustle of the leaves sounded like a lullaby. Training is not just about hunting. A true warrior must know the borders of their home like their own claws. At dawn, the patrol was ready to move out. The forest revealed itself to the former kitty pat in all its immense grandeur. The paths led farther and farther away from the familiar sense of the camp. But soon, the cheerful rustle of leaves gave way to an oppressive silence. The air became heavy, filled with dampness and decay. They were approaching ShadowClan territory. And then he sensed it, a scent that made his fur stand on end, the acrid alien stench of cats who knew no warrior code. The enemy had been here very recently. The marks they left spoke louder than words. ShadowClan was no longer afraid to cross the forbidden line. The wise mentor explained that this scent belonged to Broken Star's warriors. Cruelty had settled in their hearts, threatening the entire forest. At that moment, childhood games ended for Firepaw. He realized that the forest was not just freedom, but a constant struggle for survival. The patrol returned to camp in silence. They brought back not prey, but disturbing news that would soon change the life of all ThunderClan. News of the border trespassers spread quickly through the camp, the air filled with whispers and anxious glances. Peace in ThunderClan had become fragile. But not only external enemies threatened the clan. Firepaw began to notice what was hidden in the shadows of camp life, the strange relationship between TigerClaw and his apprentice. Hidden behind ferns, Firepaw watched. He saw not training, but intimidation. Terror was frozen in the eyes of the small black apprentice. Ravenpaw flinched at every sharp movement of his mentor. It seemed he knew a terrible secret that weighed on his soul like a heavy stone. TigerClaw viewed his apprentice's fear with cold contempt. The fire of ambition, knowing no pity, burned in his amber eyes. Firepaw tried to share his suspicions with Graypaw, but he just brushed them off. After all, TigerClaw was a great warrior and a hero of the clan. At the top of High Rock, Bluestar felt the clouds gathering. She had to lead her clan through times when the enemy might be closer than it seemed. When the sun dipped below the horizon, the clans began their journey to the ancient meeting place. Tonight, Firepaw would see a world beyond the borders of his home for the first time. The massive oaks rose like guardians of ancient law. Here, there was no war, only fragile truce beneath the stars. But the air grew colder when the warriors of ShadowClan emerged from the darkness of the pines. Broken Star's voice rang loud and defiant. In his words, there was not concern for his clan, but hunger for power. Firepaw noticed how TigerClaw listened to Broken Star with particular intensity. In his amber eyes flickered something more than simple interest. Ravenpaw trembled. His gaze darted between Broken Star and TigerClaw, as if he saw something no one else could. The gathering ended without bloodshed, but beneath the cold stars, it was clear the peace of the forest was cracking. At dawn, Ravenpaw asked Firepaw to follow him into the forest. His voice trembled, and his eyes avoided meeting anyone's gaze. In a hidden clearing among the ferns, far from listening ears, Ravenpaw finally stopped. What he revealed made Firepaw's heart stop. He had seen TigerClaw kill his own clanmate. The world seemed to tilt. TigerClaw, the clan's hero, was a murderer. But to accuse TigerClaw without proof would doom Ravenpaw. The secret became their shared burden. And yet, as they returned to camp, Firepaw could not shake the feeling that they were being watched.